Yes, people, what's going on? Hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel. It's a 12th Man Live. Haven't done an Arsenal talk for a while. I've been busy the last few days, but the football is back and there's a lot to talk about. Obviously, we're going to touch on the Manchester United game. We're going to touch on the transfers and we're going to talk specifically more on the fact that Arsenal's transfer window has gone very worryingly quiet. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Why has it gone quiet? Still a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it in, let's be real. Look, big up to everyone that's come over from Lee Judges TV. Massively appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Me and Lee were having a chinwag about the Arsenal, and I thought I'd come and have a chat with you guys as well. At the moment, there's a lot of people that are losing their minds about the performance and the fact that our window has gone quiet. So let's take a look at what that might look like. Why is it going to be that way? Why are fans getting frustrated? Why are their fans saying that nothing's to panic about? Let's see what side of the fence you're on. Before we do that, hit like, hit subscribe. We're on our way to the big 60. That is the next target, 60,000 subscribers, which is absolutely mad. I will be back tonight at 10 p.m. You don't want to miss this one because Lee Gunner, Andy Gow, and D, and myself, and Kenny, and DJB are all on. So it's going to be a mad show tonight at 10 p.m. Make sure you're there for that one. It's going to get heated. I've already been told that Lee, D, Andy Gow are all going to disagree. They've all told me that they got a lot of things that they don't agree with tonight. So that's going to be an absolutely wild show tonight at 10 p.m. So make sure you're locked in for that one on the Arsenal Roundabout. Once you hit like and subscribe, make sure you also do me a favor and follow today's sponsors. They are OK Jerseys. The logo is there. The link is live in the chat now or in the description. If you want to click on that now or after the show, trust me, you want to get these shirts. Do not tell anyone if you don't want to, but of course they are replicas. However, they are fantastic. There is absolutely no way that you can tell me that you can see the difference. So if you don't want to spend all that money and put it into Cronky's pockets, of course it's not just Arsenal, but there are Arsenal shirts there. Click the link on the description and go and get yourself, if you want, the home kit, the away kit, and the third kit. All three of them will cost less than one home shirt on the Arsenal website. So make sure that you are involved in it. They've got a brilliant range there. They've got England shirts, Arsenal shirts, and whatever club you support. So please make sure you go and follow OK Jersey and give them some love. They've been brilliant for us, so let's show them some love as well. Make sure you're following Match Bingo as well, because they've been phenomenal for us. The season's underway, and there's lots of people that are winning. So go and enjoy Match Bingo. It's been great, to be honest. Anyway, let's get to Arsenal, shall we? Over 300 people. That means there should be 150 likes already. So hit the like if you haven't done so. And lock in because we've got a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about. There's bits I'm happy with. There's bits I'm not happy with. I'll tell you this. There's parts of this section of the fan base that are really negative at the moment. There's some that are very positive at the moment. And I love to hear opinions. We'll get more of that tonight. Trust me. It's going to be a good debate. Let's touch on Manchester United's game first, very briefly. I think I've given my match reaction. I think I've given my opinions on Lee's channel just now. Let's start with what Manchester United were, because a lot of people are saying that Manchester United are a team that we should absolutely batter. 4s, 5s, 6s should have gone in. It doesn't happen like that. You know, Lee Judges made a really good point. When we won the league, we beat them 1-0 with Mark Overmars in 98. We beat them 1-0 in 2002 with Sylvain Wiltor's goal. And we drew 0-0 in the Invincible season when Ruud van Nistelrooy missed a penalty and Martin Keown had a fight with him. That means we haven't conceded a goal against Manchester United every time we've won the league at Old Trafford. We've done that again. That doesn't mean we're going to go win the league. What it means is it's very difficult to go and put 2s, 3s and 4s past them. And some people will say that was a different Manchester United, but trust me, it was a definitely different scenario for us as well, because we were at our best then, just like Manchester United. And neither of us are at our best. So I don't expect to be putting 4s and 5s past. I actually went for 1-1 as my prediction, and it could have quite easily been. I think Manchester United should have had a penalty. I've got to be honest. I love Saliba, but I don't quite know what he's doing there. He's completely late. Raya makes a fingertip save, which is world class. They hit the post. There's 22 shots going in against us. That's a worry for me, because when Unai Emery was conceding set 22 and 18 against teams like Watford and Brentford, we were worried. Yeah. But for whatever reason, it's okay now. I was worried about that. I don't think defensively we looked resolute or sound at all times, but we certainly did across the 90 minutes. We dug in when it was 1-0, and I think then deserves a lot of praise for the resilience for that. But other than that, I thought it was pretty poor in terms of midfield. I don't think any of them had a fantastic game. So I'm looking at the positives individually at David Raya for his couple of good saves, Calafiori, who I thought played really well, and Ben White likewise. Saliba and Gabriel looked iffy. Declan Rice was completely not at the races. Zubimendi was okay. I thought Ødegaard tried hard, but there was nowhere near the level of quality that I'd expect from Martin Ødegaard moving forward. And then you've got Saka and Martinelli, who are absolutely atrocious. And Gyökeres, who was quiet because of that. So, look, I don't want Victor Gyökeres to stand up top and go, right, I'm going to have to come and join Zubimendi to get the ball because no one's giving it to me. And that's what's happening at the moment. I can't see that. I can't see that. So I'm not unhappy with the 3 points. I'm buzzing with it. But other than that, we play like that, we ain't winning the league. I don't think anyone's got Arsenal to win the league anyway, but certainly playing like that ain't going to happen. So I don't feel like there's any head loss needed. I was trying to think of the word. Any meltdown needed. But I certainly don't get excited by what I've seen so far. And that comes back to pre-season as well, by the way. I still think there's a lot wrong with our attack. It doesn't look fluid. It doesn't look quick enough. I don't think we look dangerous on the counter-attack. I'm a fan of Saka, but he had a poor game. Martinelli, I'm really struggling with at the moment. I don't think he deserves to be in this 11. And Gyökeres is going to go stale if we don't provide. Martin Ødegaard. I have massive question marks over him. Massive question marks. And a lot of people thought he played well because he pressed and he worked hard and he drove us forward with the ball. But did he release the ball quick enough? Did he spin on it? Was he able to provide a through ball? Was he able to create a weight of pass that Mesut Ozil used to do without thinking with his bread and butter? Nah. And Fabregas, Cazorla, Ramsey, Ozil, they've all provided more creativity for than Martin Ødegaard, in my opinion, in that position. Now, stats might tell you different. Might tell you that Ødegaard creates more chances than anyone, but I don't think he does, if I'm honest. And I'm going to get really annoyed with Martin Ødegaard's scoop over the top. Because when you scoop the ball up and over the back four, it's fine because none of them can get to it. But once that ball bounces and bounces again and gets under control, the back four are back anyway. So I don't feel like there's any advantage to that at all, in fact. When you loop the ball over or scoop the ball over, it's fine if they can run onto it. But when it is on the penalty box and you're scooping it up, it's going to do one of two things. It's going to go off for a goal kick. It's got to have to be hit first time on the volley or on the half volley. Or the striker's got to control it and then look up to cross the ball. I would much rather Ødegaard put in a through ball. I just would. I'd much rather that. Just slide in Gyökeres or Bukayo Saka or hell, I'll say it, Gabriel Martinelli. Why are we not seeing that? It all just feels a little bit too robotic still from Mikel Arteta. And that's where I want to go next. I'm all for bringing on players. I thought Timber and Lewis-Skelly were two clever subs. I think we went for the back four that were all physically demanding in terms of their attributes. And then we obviously brought on Timber and Lewis-Skelly, who are a little bit more athletic in terms of their ability on the ball. And we brought on Kai Havertz and Madueke. Now, none of those subs surprised me. I wasn't shocked or stunned by that. I think Madueke and Havertz are squad players. And I think that Lewis-Skelly has been questioned of his defensive abilities of late. Ben White and Timber is a flip of a coin, but certainly Timber gets the nod for me when he's fit. But he has come back from an injury. But where's Ethan Nwaneri? I'm looking at Ethan Nwaneri and I'm asking the question, where are you going to get minutes then if this continues? Because He could have quite easily replaced Ødegaard. He could have quite easily replaced Saka. And dare I say it, he actually could have come on for Declan Rice in that attacking 8. If you don't want to bring off Ødegaard, bring off 8, drop Ødegaard into the attacking 8 and use Ethan in the 10. All of those players had poor games. Saka, Martinelli, Ødegaard, Rice. Even Gyökeres was pretty much, quiet as well. So all of those could have come off. But I don't feel like he wants to use Ethan for whatever reason. I need to see more from Ethan if he's going to come. If we're not going to bring on an attacking midfielder, we're not going to sign an attacking midfielder, he's got to use Ethan or Max Dowman this season. And I find it frustrating that hasn't happened. So it is annoying, if I'm honest. It is annoying. So look, I'm happy with the 3 points, but I'm concerned with some of the individual quality at the moment and also the way that the team just aren't looking brutal or scintillated in attack. It seems very hard to score a goal at Arsenal at the moment. In the last 12 to 18, I've looked at it thinking, why is it difficult for Arsenal to score goals unless it's a set piece? Why in open play is it so difficult for us to actually have an understanding of goals through open play, counter-attacking football, quick, moving the ball quick? I find it so frustrating at the moment. It's not been an enjoyable watch, if I'm honest, as an Arsenal season ticket holder, home or away, to be honest. I haven't looked once and thought, yeah, Arsenal are ready. Like, we're going to go win this league quite comfortably. I'm not sure that's the way, if I'm honest. I'm looking at this Premier League table. So, it's game week 1. There were teams worse than Arsenal. There were teams better than Arsenal. Some of the teams that were better than Arsenal aren't going to be ahead of Arsenal. I personally believe Liverpool and City are the only 2 clubs that I would put my money on potentially finishing above Arsenal. Doesn't mean they're going to, but if I had to put money on 2 teams, I would put Liverpool and City that could finish above Arsenal. I hope they don't. I hope Arsenal do. But there were some positives. We didn't lose the game. We didn't throw away a lead. We were defensively resolute. When our attack wasn't working, our defence at least was. There was some good positives when I saw some of the subs coming on. I think Timber and Lewis-Skelly, it might prove that we don't have a set 11 this year, which I think is fine, because otherwise you're going to get injuries if you play the same 11 all the time. Is that squad good enough? Not for me yet. We still need to look at this Eze situation. And if he's going to Spurs, work out what we do need if it isn't Eze. We need to look at the left wing and decide that if we can't get Rodrigo, are we going for Lookman? Are we going for Rafael Leao? Are we going to stay to the Premier League and go for Matoma or Semenyo or Anthony Gordon? Which left winger are we getting because we need one? Martinelli at the moment looks shot of confidence. I don't think he has belief in his ability at the moment. I think his attributes have always been the pace, the power, the flair, the one that you look at to actually try and make something happen. 15 goals in a season from a left winger is fantastic. We haven't seen anything near that since. And people can say that it's Arteta's fault, and I do agree that he's definitely not developed under Mikel Arteta, but Saka's had a good year most of the time over that right-hand side. So you can't blame Havertz for Martinelli's form when Saka's been delivering. You can't blame Mikel Arteta's style for Martinelli's bad form when Saka's been delivering. You just can't do that. So I think you have to now look at his individual quality and say it's lacking at the moment. And I love Martinelli, I always have done, but I'm starting to run out of patience with him now. He's got to deliver. And I think he's only got this season left at Arsenal, if I'm honest, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult to see him lasting. It really is. I can't lie. I've been trying to defend Martinelli and Ødegaard because of glimpses that I've seen. My problem is Martinelli, the last time I was happy with his performances was probably 18 months to 2 years ago. And the last time I was happy with Ødegaard was easily the same. You can't still look at Martinelli and Ødegaard and say, that there's an opportunity to defend them from 22-23 season. You have to look at the individual performances of them and say, why is this not happening? Like, I don't know. It's very difficult for it. So let's see what happens. Keep it respectful in the chat, please. I don't know what's going on at the moment, but please make sure it's respectful. Otherwise, the mods will just kick you out. So yeah, make sure it's respectful in the chat, please. Okay, let's move to what we still need. I think it's obvious, ain't it? Everybody knows we need a left winger. We've mentioned Martinelli's form not being on it. We've mentioned the fact that we've got Leandro Trossard, who wasn't favoured in this game, and looks as if there's potential for a left winger. I think we're going to get a left winger. I think that is going to be the last signing that Arsenal make. I don't think it is going to be Eze. I think it's going to be a left winger that is an out-and-out winger. And that out-and-out winger needs to be something special. It can't be something that competes with Martinelli. It's got to be the start. So we all know what the dream is. The dream is Rodrigo, right? And Gilberto Silva has been talking about Rodrigo and the potential for him to come to Arsenal. Now, I don't think we're getting Rodrigo before everyone starts losing their minds. I personally do not. When I look at the scenario of Rodrigo, it makes me excited, but I'm not too sure that it's going to happen. But Gilberto Silva has been talking, and he has said that he has spoke with Rodrigo several times over the summer, and he's tried to encourage him to make the next step in his career, saying that Arsenal would be the perfect fit for him. Now, there's no links with Rodrigo whatsoever. Real Madrid have said that Arsenal have not contacted them over talking about the need to sign Rodrigo, or they want to sign Rodrigo. So for me, it does look like this is all just talk at the moment. It doesn't sound like Rodrigo is set on any club. Manchester City have shown an interest. Liverpool have before. Arsenal have before. It doesn't look like there's any other clubs in the Premier League that would like him. However, it does sound like there has been links previously with Bayern Munich. I think PSG were also linked with him also. So there's going to be players that want, teams that want Rodrigo because he's a world-class talent, right? He's been phenomenal. And some Arsenal fans don't want him. Some Arsenal fans absolutely no way don't want Rodrigo. Don't think he's Premier League proven. I think he'd be a huge risk. But Guillaume Balaguer has also said that Arsenal have not made an approach for Rodrigo. There's been no offers for the winger. Real Madrid are willing to listen to offers, but as it stands, nobody expects him to leave. Now, nobody expected him to leave and willing to listen to offers kind of contradicts itself, if I'm honest. Because if he doesn't want to leave, but they're happy to accept offers, which one is it? I think there's a potential for Arsenal to be interested in this one. But I think there's other players as well that Arsenal will be looking at as that kind of starting left wing option. And I think there's quite a few at the moment that Arsenal could be linked with. Now, before I mention some of these names, I think it's clear to understand that the left wing market really is pretty dead. Like, there's some very good players, but there's some okay players. There's some hyped up players, and there's some ones that I think for the money would not be worth it. So I think the ones in order of what I would go for, Rodrigo is the absolute standout for me. Like, he's the one that I think walks into the Premier League, becomes our marquee signing for this summer, and definitely complements Gyökeres, Saka, Ødegaard, etc. He definitely starts. There's no denying the fact that perhaps he comes in and provides competition. He's clearly going to start. It's not going to be who's going to play, Rodrigo or Martinelli? Who's Rodrigo going to come in and replace? Does he get into this first team? Well, we all know. He can play right, but he is going to start potentially left wing if he wants to come in. And he definitely would be better than Madueke and Martinelli and Trossard over there. So that's why I want him. The next player that I would take would be Ademola Lookman. I know people didn't like his Premier League proven performances for Leicester, Everton and Fulham, but he has played there. I also think that there's the fact he's been cooking in Europe. His stats prove that he can score goals and create and assist. A hat-trick in a big game in a Europa League final, winning that for Atalanta. But he does want to leave. Now, I don't think he wants to leave Italy. It does sound like he wants to actually be a player that goes over to Inter Milan, but it looks like that deal's now off. Is there a chance he comes back to the Premier League? I'm not so sure from what I'm hearing that he wants to. I think he's quite happy in Italy. So Lookman could be one that we look at. I think Fabrizio Romano has suggested that the Premier League club now might show some interest, and Arsenal have been mentioned as one of those. Lookman's a player that I think is ready now. I don't think we look at Lookman and think he's going to need a couple of years to adjust. He's not ready. He's young. There's a lot of pressure on him. It's none of that. He walks in, I think he starts for Arsenal, and I think he could bang. So for me, I would take Lookman if it isn't going to be Rodrigo. They're the two that I would want. If Lookman wants to stay in Italy and Real Madrid aren't selling Rodrigo, then we have to look at our next target. And I think it's between a couple, if I'm honest. I think all of these are risks. And you've got to decide really which one is worth taking. One of them is Barcola. Obviously, Desiree Doué is playing at PSG. Barcola does play. They rotate. Does he want guaranteed first-team football? I think, again, he would start for Arsenal on the left wing, Barcola. I think he would be good. But I think with Barcola, what you've got is a little bit of a risk. I don't think he's delivered at every single game. I don't think he's shown enough consistencies to say that he would absolutely bang for Arsenal. I think there'd be a question mark over it. I quite like him. I like the fact that he's quite a flair player. He gets people out of his seats. He looks good enough. I think he's a player that would come into Arsenal and definitely upgrade on what we've got. But is he going to take us to the next level? Is it going to be elite? I don't think he would, which is why I've put him below Lookman and Rodrigo in that order, because I would prefer those two. Barcola as well is young enough to be able to grow with the Arsenal team. But is he ready right now? I'm not sure. I've got question marks. I think he's better than what we've got. I'm not so sure, man, which is why I want Lookman and Rodrigo over him. Then, of course, we move to Rafael Leao. Rafael Leao is a top quality player on his day. But I don't see enough consistency in his game. I don't think there's much of a difference in goals and assists between him and Martinelli. Now, I think Rafael Leao on his day leaves Martinelli dead in the water. However, I don't see it consistently enough. And when I speak to people that watch Serie A and speak to people that know the player in terms of what he's like attitude-wise, it worries me. He throws his toys out the pram, puts Rattle in the corner, puts Teddy in the corner, doesn't get his own way, gets the hump, sulks. I don't want players like that. So when I look at Leao individually, I think he's got some unbelievable attributes. His pace and his power, he looks lethal. He's a monster on the ball. He looks like he's got all the strength, pace and power. I don't know, though, that I want that because I haven't seen enough consistency with it. If he did that every game, of course, you're going to look at that and say that's a brilliant signing. And for the money that these players would cost, they've got to come in and hit the ground running now. And I'm not so sure that they are going to. I'm just not so sure. So there's some options as well. And people might be in the chat thinking, we ain't signing any of these players. That's fine. These are the players that are available. Whether you think Arsenal are going to sign them or not, these are the players that are available. Arsenal have no excuse about not signing a left winger. And I've said this earlier. Arsenal's attack needs to improve. And there's players that this summer have either been sold, available, or could be got out of their club. And Arsenal haven't done any of it yet. Gyökeres is the only player. In January, I wanted Kvaratskhelia and I wanted Isak. When I realized none of these players were available, I then moved on and I went to Rodrigo and Gyökeres. I tried to keep it realistic. And if you think Isak is unrealistic, well, you've been proved wrong. He was realistic because he's leaving. Kvaratskhelia was realistic. He went to PSG. Rodrigo sounds realistic. Rumours he might go. Players I've just mentioned, Lookman, unsettled. Leao, unsettled. These are players that we could go and get. Barcola wants first-team football. So that leaves two more players, really, to speak about. And one of them scored 2 goals at the weekend. Semenyo. Now, I actually do believe he's more of a right winger, but can play left. I've been impressed with him for quite some time now. But I don't know that he's the elite level. I don't know that he's the one that we go, yes, takes us to the next level, gets us 10 to 15 goals. Maybe he would. I hope so if we get him. I think he'd be a cheaper option than some of the others. I wouldn't have thought Bournemouth would expect anything more to come in from 40 to 50 million for him. I like him. I think he's a good player. I think he's a squad player. I think he could start at left wing, potentially back up to Saka. But I don't know that it's the wow goosebump signing, the elite level that takes us to the next level. I don't think it is that, which is why I keep going back to it. I'd take Rodrigo and I'd take, bless me, Rodrigo and Lookman over them. So where I'm at right now, Semenyo would be like 4th choice. But I would have him over Anthony Gordon. People might laugh at that and say, why? Anthony Gordon's England's left winger. Anthony Gordon's a player that comes in and delivers. But I think it's a hell of a lot of money. If we went for Anthony Gordon, Newcastle aren't accepting anything below 90 million because he's their goal-scoring left winger. English taxed. Starts for England on the left at the moment, probably if you look at everyone being fit, unless we jiggle it around with Foden playing out there or something mad like that. So for me, I think that's a hell of a lot of more money than Semenyo. And I don't see much of a difference of quality between the two, if I'm honest with you. So, yeah, man, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Madueke. I don't get this signing yet, you know. I don't get it. Because I was quite consistent. If we brought in Eze and Rodrigo as well as Madueke, I would have understood it and gone, wow, okay, we've covered all areas. But I don't think we're doing that now. So it means we brought in Madueke ahead of Eze. Why? Not only have we brought in Madueke ahead of Eze, Madueke has been brought in ahead of Cunha. He's been brought in ahead of Ryan Cherky and Reinders. He's been brought in ahead of Brandon Buemo. He's been brought in ahead of Mohamed Kudus. I need to see why that is. Because, look, I'm not a hater of Noni Madueke. He hasn't played enough for me to judge him yet, but I think it's a brave move. It's one that has to work. And Mikel Arteta has already had question marks about what Kai Havertz's role is at Arsenal and why it was that much money a week and why we spent 65 M's on him. I think he's going to be doing that again with Noni Madueke at 52 million. Because for 62, we could have got Cunha. Similar money was spent on Mbeumo. Ryan Cherky was cheaper than that. Reinders, I think, was cheaper than that. And we spent 52 million on Madueke and he needs to deliver. If that now prevents us from getting Eze and Rodrigo or both of them, then I don't understand what the board and Mikel Arteta are doing there. I really don't. I really don't. So, I don't know. I feel personally like there's a lot better options out there than Noni Madueke that have gone to other clubs. Even clubs like Spurs or Manchester United who are below Arsenal right now. So, that's where I'm at with the Noni Madueke stuff. Now, we might deliver. Eze might do a U-turn. We might sell some players, go back in for him, and he can't agree a deal with Spurs. He might be using Spurs to flirt to get a move to Arsenal. Well, no one knows what's actually going on, right? I personally feel like he's going to Tottenham now, and I feel like we've missed out on that one because either we haven't sold players or we aren't able to, go for anyone other than just a left wing, or we feel like our business is done. And this is the thing. Eze to Arsenal should happen. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't mean that he doesn't want Arsenal and he wants Tottenham. Let's just stop losing our heads over that. Arsenal clearly haven't come in for him. He's not looking at Tottenham right now going, I think I'm going to win the league with Spurs. No. He's going to look at Arsenal and think, that would be my preferred move. They don't seem to want to come in for me. So I want to leave Palace. I'm going to go Spurs. Then I look at the scenario of why Arsenal might not want him. There's a few reasons. The first reason is we probably didn't want him anyway. There's another reason to suggest that we need to sell before we buy. And thirdly, there's a suggestion that actually we've got Ethan Nwaneri and Max Dowman who have impressed and they no longer want Eze because that would stop and stunt the development of those two players. Whether you agree with those three statements, one or all three of them could be true. We don't know. I'm just guessing. I've got to put in my mind why we could be so heavily linked with Eze and then not so much. Could it be because we believed that Max Dowman and Ethan weren't going to be ready, but now they are? Is it the fact that we thought Ethan was going, but now he's staying? Eze's no longer coming to Arsenal. Was Eze going to be a potential replacement or upgrade on Ethan if he was to leave? And now he's not. We don't want Eze. Or do we want to sell before we buy and we can't sell because we're crap at it still? Because these players are on mad money. Is that the reason why? I don't know. But David Ornstein is saying that Eze to Arsenal, we're not in the race. We don't want him. No more. So I've got to go with the sources there that suggest that that's not the case and we don't want him, right? That's what we've got to go with. And if we don't want Eze, why? Eze would be a great signing for Arsenal. He'd get the creativity for us. He'd help us with low blocks. He can play in a number of positions. Be versatile for us. Scores in big games. He's 27 years old. He's ready now. I don't know why we have not gone and got this done. 68 million, structured deal, release clause. It's a no-brainer. It should be done. But it doesn't look like we want him. And that is frustrating. That is frustrating. I've got to be honest. So now it's got to be an all-out left winger. So let's do a poll. I'm not going to ask you which position you want because I think it's quite obvious. I'm going to ask you which left winger do you want Arsenal to sign? The first one is Rodrigo because I think that's the dream. The second one is Lookman because there's rumours that he might come to the Premier League. The third one I'm going to go for is Barcola. And then the fourth one I'm going to go is Semenyo. Now, there is a chance for you to say that there's an other, but I won't put other as an option. But let me know in the chat if I've not said the left winger that you want. For example, Liao or Gordon or one of those guys that you might think, Mitoma, whatever it be. But let me know. There's a poll in the chat. Who do you want to see Arsenal sign? Rodrigo is absolutely smashing it at the moment, 63%. Now it's gone down a bit and people are catching up. Semenyo is being mentioned at nearly 20%. Lookman at 15%. Barcola at just 9%. But 62% of the chat are saying they want Rodrigo. I totally understand why. For me, that's the clear marquee signing, right? That's the one that makes a lot of rival fans go, whoa. Now, Savio or Savinio to Spurs looks like it might not happen, and Man City are putting a cancellation to that or stalling on it, at least for now. That puts a massive doubt over where Rodrigo goes. And I spoke to LB, he said it wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal go and get him now. He can't believe we've not put in a bid for him. Go and lump down 100 million euros. People say we can't because we haven't got any money. We haven't spent any money for God knows how long in these last couple of windows. We've been crying out for attacking signings for so long. And if we don't have 100 million, what are we spending 52 on Madueke for? This is why I said the priorities were all wrong in this window. I'm more than happy with the signings that have come in, positions that have come in, but that should not be happening first of all. Gyökeres and Rodrigo should be the two players we're getting in because they're the priority areas. Zubimendi's cool. But go and get Madueke lastly. Madueke should have been, right? Deadline day, 52 M's. That's how much it costs. We'll give you that last day to back up Saka because we've already brought in Rodrigo, Eze, Gyökeres, Zubimendi, Mosquera, Kepa and Norgard. And we go and lump it all on Madueke to say we want a right winger and he's the guy that we want. I would have gone, hell of a lot of money, waste, bit like what I'm saying now, but I would have understood it alongside the other signings. If Madueke is coming in instead of him, sorry, man, there's a big problem. So Arsenal can't be done this window. There's just, I'm not having that they're done this window. I just don't agree that is the case. I just don't. I do think there's an opportunity for us to look at another couple of positions, but I do think we'll get at least one. If we're done, I'm sorry, it's been like a 6 out of 10 window because the Gyökeres signing and the Zubimendi signing have made it that 6 because the others have just been backups that I don't even know are huge upgrades on what we already had. Is Madueke a huge upgrade? Is Kepa? Is Norgard? Is Mosquera? I don't know. A lot of people are rating it as 3s and 4s and 5s. I mean, maybe I'm being kind giving it a 6, but I feel like we need more to make it exciting. Mikel Arteta said he had goosebumps about the summer. Goosebumps. This isn't a goosebumps window. Let me tell you that now. This ain't. Let me end the poll. 62% of you say Rodrigo. Fair play. 7% say Barcola. 13% say Lookman. 17% want Semenyo. And there's been other mentions of Liao and Gordon and other players like that. So fair play. Fair play. Rodrigo's the dream, right? Rodrigo's the one we all want. That's the way it is. Okay, let's go through some of the news before we start to come to a close. Where are we? Let's go on AFC stuff because, I always think that puts it together nicely. If you're not following these, make sure you do. It's just a nice Twitter page. Arsenal's next 6 fixtures are Leeds, Liverpool, Forest, City, Newcastle, and West Ham. It's amazing that it's gone to the next 6 fixtures. Why do we always look at the next 6? We looked at the first 6. Why is it then not 5? And then go back to another 6? Why do we then go always looking at the next 6? Very bizarre, but there we go. Look, I'm not going to talk about West Ham. We'll stop there because it was the first 6 we were going to mention. West Ham, I mean, if we don't beat them at home this season, I don't know what to say because it's just an embarrassment. They look absolutely awful. Leeds United. Manchester United away is done. 3 points collected. Well done, Arsenal. Let's move on. We go to Leeds at home. This has to be 3 points. We just have to pick up 3 points there. There's no way people can tell me that they need to try and do their best to try and get something out of this game. This needs to be 3 points. We're better than Leeds on paper. They're a good side. They deserve to be in the Premier League. They played well last night. They won. Yes, the penalty was dodgy, but they took 3 points against a good Everton side. We need to go and now deliver. We need to deliver, and we need to deliver convincingly. I am not going to be happy or overjoyed or over-the-top happy or celebrating and congratulating everybody if we nick a 1-0 set-piece win against Leeds. We need to be a convincing attacking outlet that has Martinelli, Saka, Madueke, Ødegaard, Havertz, Gyökeres all firing. I want to see 4s, maybe even 5s go past Leeds because they are a team that could be there for the taking. It has to be. I hope that we deliver. Then, of course, we've got Liverpool away at Anfield. Now, I'm not expecting 3 points there because it's an unbelievably difficult game. But Liverpool have shown in the last couple of games that they're a lot more open than they were last season defensively. They've got Frimpong and Kirkes bombing down the wings. They're quite rash in their tackles. They can't defend as well as Timber and White and some of our fullbacks. So we've definitely got defensively a better unit than them. Konate looked a mess against Bournemouth and Van Dijk hasn't quite looked himself. So we have to be able to score goals there. It isn't their defence is poor, so let's make sure we score from corners. That isn't what we're doing. Always be a threat from set pieces. Let's get this out of the way. Set pieces are part of the game. It's great to have them in your armoury. But it isn't the only way that you should be able to score goals and win games. It should be a part of how you win games. If it's a struggle defensively, if there's a low block and we're struggling to get through it, you score a free kick or a corner, brilliant, you've won the game. It shouldn't be laughed at that. But it certainly shouldn't be how you're playing against every single team. So I don't want to expect that to see that against Leeds. And if I'm honest, I want to be going to Anfield and giving them a right good go. Keep defensively resolute at all times because that's where we are, right? That's what we've been doing. But we need to stop this football that's killing our attack. So against Liverpool, I'm expecting to drop points because I think Liverpool are a good side. I think we'll draw. So that's another 4 points there, Leeds and Liverpool. This is just my predictions, by the way. Nottingham Forest, I expect to beat. They're a hard team to beat. They've got a good defence. They play well against Brentford. They have got some individual quality players. Hudson-Odoi. We know Chris Wood can score. We know what Elliot Anderson is about in midfield. Morgan Gibbs-White's still there. They've got good players. But I expect to beat them. We've beaten them the last 2 years at home. I expect to beat them again at home. Then we've got Manchester City. Now, Manchester City are going to be a very difficult side because they've got everybody back. Rodri's the only one that's out. They look like they've made very good signings. Good business this summer so far with Ait-Nouri and Reinders and Cherky. But I do think that there's potential for us to be taking 3 points here. We have beaten them the last couple of times, right? We've beaten them in the last couple of games. So I look at it now thinking we can beat Manchester City at home. We've done it in the last couple of seasons. So why don't I expect to do it again? I'm sorry, I do. And I know that it's not a given. I appreciate that. But let's be real. I've got to be honest. I feel personally like we should be going there and taking 3 points. I'm going to stop sharing this for a minute because it sounds like Eze are going to be reaching an agreement with Spurs. So here we go. Yep, Ben Jacobs has announced it. Tottenham have reached an agreement in principle with Palace for Eze. This is a phenomenal signing for Tottenham Hotspur, by the way. It sounds like this deal is getting done. Sounds like we no longer want Eze and that Eze to Spurs is going to be a done deal. I don't know what that agreement is, by the way. I don't know if that agreement is 100%, set in stone for a release clause or if it's an agreement below the release clause. Arsenal have clearly pulled out and we do not want Eze. Crazy, right? He's an Arsenal fan. He's an Arsenal boy. Everybody said he was coming to Arsenal. even including myself, I thought it was a given, but it proves that these journos have no idea what they're talking about half the time, because now they've changed their tune. Eze was going to Arsenal. It was a given. Now he's off to Spurs. It's crazy. It's crazy. 4 minutes ago, Fabrizio has also tweeted. Let's share this as well. Where are we? Fabrizio has said the following. Negotiations for Eze to Spurs are again underway today after a 55 million plus 5 million proposal yesterday. Daniel Levy and Steve Parish are in direct contact to seal the agreement. So this is going to happen. This is going to happen. How do you feel about that, people? How do you feel about that? 55 million plus 5. And we spent 52 million on Madueke. Who would you rather have? This is again showing that we have chosen to spend money on the wrong players. This is bad for Arsenal. And it's not a good look. I don't care if we've pulled out and we're not serious with it. This is not a good look. It is not a good look when we've been told all summer that this was one of our number one targets. And they have not gone to Arsenal, and they've ended up going to our rivals. That is a bad piece of business. Tottenham have actually got some unbelievably good attacking midfielders now, because they've got Kulusevski and Maddison already. They've signed Kudus, and they've got Eze. They're looking at Savio. Tottenham are looking better in attack than Arsenal right now. Let's be real. Individually, there's only Saka and Gyökeres that competes with what they've got. Because Martin Ødegaard hasn't been anywhere near the level. The players they've bought in Kudus, now Eze, Savinho, Maddison, Kulusevski, they've got a serious attack. I know they've got Brennan Johnson, who was actually the top scorer last season as well, but I'm not a huge lover of him or Solanke, but they can be added to that attacking list as well. So Tottenham have done serious business getting these players in, which is why I've put them sick for this season. Because I truly believe that they can do it. Now, look, if they don't get Savinho on top of this, they won't care, because they've got Eze, they've got Kudus, and I truly believe that they'll probably go for one more. They went in for Gibbs White. That looked like it was done. It's mad. It's mad. So look, me, Curtis, and Turkish all said the same thing. We want Eze, Rodrigo, and Gyökeres. I thought we were going to get Eze and Eze and Gyökeres. I thought that was the two that were easy to get. We've ended up not getting him. This is crazy. Eze to Spurs. I mean, look, I'm not at a head loss like some of the fan base are, because I think he's a good player. I think he'll actually play more for Spurs than he would at Arsenal. I think it's probably the right move for Eze footballing wise, because he's going to play every game. But I've got to be honest, I think it's an excellent signing. He was a handful at the weekend for Palace against Chelsea. He's going to do well at Tottenham. Can play off the left, can play attacking 8, can play off the right, can play number 10. Better centrally. And Spurs are crying out for a 10, by the way. You know? They could actually, if they wanted to, play him as an attacking 8 and Kudus in the 10. If they wanted to play, you know, Johnson and Odegaard still. They've got options now, Spurs. So this is a great bit of business. And it frustrates the life out of me that he's going to go to Tottenham, because I think he's going to ball out. And under Thomas Frank, I think he'll do well. People that say Thomas Frank is very defensive are absolutely right. But let's not forget that he got goals out of Ollie Watkins, Ivan Toney, Brian Mbeumo, Visser, and even some of the other players of the last year, like Ben Ramas, etc., that did well there in the Championship. So, yeah, sorry. I think this is a great signing, and I think Arsenal have got to hold it L. Arsenal have got to hold it L here. I don't care if you wanted him, didn't want him. The club have made themselves look a bit silly and a bit amateur. Because if we were really serious about him, we would have got him. If we were really serious about him, we would have at least put a bid in. If we were really serious about him, we would have stopped with the Madueke nonsense, and we would have lumped in the release clause for him. It's mad. A lot of Arsenal fans are unhappy. They're crying for Arteta out already. They're saying Berta's no good. Maybe it's a bit extreme. I think Arteta probably has to look at this and say that it's not him as much as it is Andrea Berta and co. And I don't feel But this is a scenario that looks good for Arsenal Football Club at the moment. I just don't. I don't think it looks good. I just don't. I don't know. It's one of there. Matty, big up to you, bro. I hope you're well, man. He says, cheers, brother Dan. We sat there last week and tried to warn the brother D he wasn't coming. Madueke is the left-hand side man. Spurs are addressing issues while we create issues. Yeah, man. It's mad. In fact, Matty, let me send you the link, man. You can jump on, have a chat with this. Because this is broke at bad timing. It's absolutely mad. Only if you're free, Matty. You don't have to if you're not. Yeah, I'm frustrated because I wanted him. I don't feel this is Arsenal have dropped the ball because we asked him to come and he said no. I think that would be extreme. We don't know that to be the case. But if I'm honest with you, yo, Matty, I've sent you the link, bro. Yeah, 5 legend. I'm sick if I'm honest of this because I wanted him, and I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I'm not stunned because this is Arsenal. I'm not shocked because there's a lot of rumours suggesting that he was always Arsenal's man. Never Arsenal's man. We didn't put a bid for him. We clearly didn't want him. We clearly did not want Eze. Spurs went and got him because they saw that Arsenal weren't serious about it. So, yeah. Is Eze better than Ødegaard? He is to me. But do you actually think he is? Because Mikel Arteta doesn't believe he is. Mikel Arteta would have signed Eze and he would have played him left wing. And I truly believe a little bit of Eze is saying, I don't want to go play left wing for Arsenal. I want to go and ball out, be the top dog at Spurs. And there's a lot of people, Lee Gunner, Matty, Northside, DJB, Kenny Ken, they've all said he wasn't going to come into Arsenal. He was always going to Tottenham. Tottenham have actually been interested in Eze for longer than we have, right? I'll say that. So I think he's probably looked and thought, I'll go to Arsenal. They haven't come in for me now. Next best is to go to Tottenham and get first team football. So I think that's what's happened. There's no way he's rejected Arsenal, by the way. People that think he's rejected Arsenal, how can he reject Arsenal and bid for him? So yeah, some people think that he's chosen Tottenham over Arsenal. I'd question your ball knowledge there, people. But yeah, I do think that there's definitely a reason why Arsenal haven't gone in for him. I don't know what that reason is. I just don't. I don't know what that reason is. So Arsenal weren't serious about it. Decided for whatever reason not to go in for him. For whatever reason, we've decided that potentially Ethan Nwaneri and Max Dowman maybe are ready. Either we haven't got the funds to go all out for Eze and the left winger. There could be a lot for this. In my opinion, it's poor. And whatever the reason is, it's a poor look for Arsenal. This is a poor look for Arsenal. Because there was no denying the fact that we were interested in him, right? But for whatever reason, we've gone and done a U-turn on that. We've decided not to go for him. So Ødegaard it is, people. Rice in the 8, people. It's got to work. No pressure, Mikel. Noni Madueke. He has to go and get 10, 15 goals if he's our starting left winger. Saka has to deliver. Ødegaard has to improve. Do not let Eze have a better season than Ødegaard. Do not let Kudus have a better season than Noni Madueke. Do not let Ryan Cherky ball out. Don't let that happen. There's serious pressure, man. Serious pressure. Yes, Matty. What are you telling me, bro?
Afternoon, brother. Afternoon, morning, everybody else. How's everybody doing, man?
All good, man. All good. What do you make of this news on Eze, bro? I know you're not shocked by it, but talk to me.
It's just symptomatic of what we do. I mean, tried to tell everybody last week if we wanted to play, we would have signed him earlier, but nobody wanted to see him to listen. You know, these players like this, Rodrigo and Eze, we need those players early. You know, I just don't see the manager putting any type of pressure on Martin Ødegaard this year. He's gonna let him bail himself out of trouble, especially after that Tony Adams. That just basically galvanized him. So he's gonna take that and make sure he runs with it. You know, this weekend, where was Ethan at to play in that position? To even try to play Ethan there. Nowhere to be seen. Max is sitting up in the stands. Yeah, I know he got back from off holiday. Well, come on, how many players have we seen come off a holiday play games? So I mean, something's gonna have to change here this year, Dan. I'm thrilled we beat Manchester United. Me and you both old school. You know what Manchester United means to us. You know exactly what that game means to us. We're glad we got the 3 points, but let's just be real. That was not a performance that made you feel comfortable for the rest of this season. And yeah, we beat Manchester United, but look at what's coming down the pipe. We've got a long way to go. And in some cases, it's not even the major teams that we got to worry about, the Liverpools in the city. It's these West Hams. Now it's Tottenham. Palace. Because Glasgow seems to find a way to get something out of Palace. You know, this manager's going to have to manage this year, Dan. He's going to have to manage this year. Matty Wakey's going to have to work out. I kept telling everybody, I hope he works out, because that's what. There's no way you spend $50 million on a player like that and then just he's not playing. He's playing in that position this year. I told Kenny yesterday, I said, worst case scenario. He asked me what did I think yesterday. Me and Kenny had a good talk yesterday afternoon after I got in. I told him, I said, worst case scenario. This is worse. Now prepare yourself. Deadline day deal for Sancho.
Oh,
get ready, because that is. I mean, what is he? Another Chelsea reject. This manager loves this kind of stuff. I don't understand. I don't understand the obsession. Instead of just going and taking that money that we had, that we paid for Matt Wakey, we could have taken that money and we could have moved it towards a better player. And you could have got that player in early. You know, it was rumblings about Rodrigo. You should have went in with a bid early during the World Cup. There was some tension there. Nope. Never had any intention to do it. Never went in for Eze. Remember, we went in for Eze and we bid under the amount. So it's like, it's like sometimes you gotta wonder, like, what is going on here? And why do we wait? Why do we scramble at the last second? We're lucky that Jokers wanted to come to us, that he actually wanted to come to us, because we still be fumbling with that deal too. This is symptomatic. This is historical, Dan, what we've seen. We've seen this for decades at this football club. Me and you both, decades. And we're in our 40s. At least I'm in my mid-40s. And I've seen this time and time and time and time. And then we end up, then we'll get to about January, February, March. And then we'll realize, oh, man, we needed another creative 10. Well, then we'll start looking at who we getting in the summer. And then whoever we start looking at getting in the summer ain't coming. It's going to be somebody else that's going to be completely different. We repeat this every year. We repeat this every year. So for me, as they go on the Spurs, it's really going to help them out, man. They addressed a major issue immediately. And I was trying to warn people last season. I said, hey, man, Spurs won't be the same Spurs. It would not be the same Spurs. This brother Thomas Frank is going to get them all on the same, singing from the same hymn sheet. I agree. And that's what worries me. That's what worries me, because they could be the dog. It was every year that team that sneaks in the top 4. This could very well be Spurs this year, and that's a problem. So, for us to do anything this year, we've got to be consistent. And I don't want more consistent performances like I saw Sunday, looking like that. But we need consistent wins. We need to be able to play good football, because in about 2 weeks here, the Champions League draw comes out. And that's a whole nother kettle of fish. So, Dan, for me, brother, it's sad to see the brother Eze go, but for his career, I knew he was going to go over there. There's no way he's not going to play, get consistent game time, make a big move, make some money, and be prepared for the World Cup, because he wants to play for that World Cup.
Yeah, of course.
Year. Yeah, 27 years old. This is probably the best shot he's going to get. Because in the World Cup, you don't see too many dudes and they be at 30s, and unless they're extremely over, really, really good. You don't see it too often. So this is probably his best shot to get in. And so he's going to do what's best for him in his career. And unfortunately, we couldn't get the player. Would have loved to have had him. And then if we would have got him, everybody's putting him on the left. He needs to be challenging Odegaard. Odegaard needs to be getting challenged, because what we saw Sunday was rudimentary, basic, midfield play, receive ball from defender, get ball, release ball for striker. That's basic stuff. I saw a comment yesterday. I was working yesterday, but I was having lunch and I was listening to Curtis. There was a comment that came through, and I don't know if you saw it or not, but there was a comment that said, when I watch PSG and Liverpool, I see 2 passes destroy the line. Why don't we do that? Why don't we get the ball and pass it twice and have defenses on their heels?
Yep.
It takes us 12 passes to get there to do a corner. And we repeat it the entire game over and over and over, Dan. You can't sustain that. You cannot sustain that for a whole season. We went through that last year. I think Raheem came out with a comment this past Sunday and said that if Arsenal keeps playing to hold on to 1-0 lead, this explains why they finished the way they did, drop points last year. And he's 100% correct. That's exactly how we dropped points from games last year. We've got to become more ruthless this year, Dan. If we want to compete this year, we have to become ruthless and start putting teams away. We went up 1-0. We should have been trying to get 2, 3, 4, 5. Embarrassed United. That's what Liverpool did last year. What was that score at Old Trafford last year? 6-7, something like that. They destroyed Manchester United. You know, we've got to start developing that characteristic. But we got too many players that are just soft. They just don't. They don't. It seems like it's programmed out of them to have a killer instinct. So when we see players like Max Down and Isnt and Skelly to a certain degree, these players they're cut from a different cloth.
Yeah.
So, you know, bro, I know
they've been allowed to express, man, because they haven't been molded into him yet. There hasn't been this robotic possession-based football. I mean, how bad was Saka at the weekend? Martinelli's fallen off a cliff. Odegaard, people were saying pressed and all this rubbish. I thought he was disappointing. Gyökeres had not a sniff. We got to pass him the ball, funny enough. Rice was poor. We're ruining him in that position. I'm sorry. I know people keep telling me he's great there. He is not an attacking advanced 8 midfielder. We need to put him and Zubimendi in a double pivot. Odegaard is not a 10. And this is a problem. When you go through the attack, the back line's fine, no problem with that. Goalkeeper, likewise. You go through the midfield and attack, and it's like, well, hang on a minute. Zubimendi's definitely a 6, but Rice kind of is. That means he can't play there. He's got to go forward. Odegaard's not a 10. He's really an 8, but actually he's not good at the 10, so he's not going to be dropped, but he's playing there. He's no good at going over on the left, which means we've got Martinelli who needs to improve. He's now fallen off a cliff. Trossard's coming in, but it looks like he's leaving. And then up top, we're asking for people to deliver it to him. The only person that can get him the ball is Saka if he smashes it into the box. So our attack is completely broken down under Mikel Arteta in the last 18 months, bro.
Yeah, it's lopsided. And Martinelli just completely fell off a cliff. I mean, let what has happened to Martinelli in the last 2 or 3 years serve as a cautionary tale for Bukayo Saka. Because if we ain't careful, you know, with Saka's health, especially coming off of that major injury, we could be seeing this again with him if we're not careful. I'm not saying that it's going to happen or I want it to happen. I'm saying this, just be cautious because that could very well happen. Because we all remember what Martinelli was. And that's the funny part. It's not like we signed Martinelli from somewhere and, you know, he got here, he didn't work out. We actually seen, you know, the best of Martinelli right out of the gate. We actually saw it consistently there for the first couple of years. And then it just went downhill. And now we're talking about getting rid of Trossard. So, Dan, if we get rid of Trossard, we don't bring in anybody else. Who's going to the left-hand side? You got
Madueke.
Now, how many goals? Now, regardless of what people think about Trossard, how many goals did Trossard come off the bench and give us last year?
Agreed.
Production.
Agreed.
I mean,
he's been a reliable squad player for us. Trossard has.
Yeah. You know, regardless of what people think of him, he's been productive when he comes off the bench. You know, at least 65 to 75% of the time. I'm not going to say every time he comes off, you know, we've had some nightmares from Trossard, but for the most part, you know, he can get some stuff going. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to remember what preseason game was. I want to say it was possibly the Newcastle game. He was actually one of our best players in preseason. In one of those games, I can't quite remember exactly which one it is right now since we played quite a few of them. But you know, these are issues that should have been looked at, you know, way before not then. We're going into the next week? Is it next week or the week after next? The end of the transfer window. And
what are we actually going to do in the next couple of weeks, bro? Because there's no Eze coming in now, right? We need a left winger. We need a couple of attackers. I don't see anything happening right now. It's gone quiet. We're being told we have to sell players. Well, How are we going to do that? Because they're all on mad wages. Nobody wants to go near Zinchenko on 150 a week. No one wants to go near Reece Nelson on 100k a week. Nobody wants to go near Jesus on 265. Trossard, we ain't getting anything back for. Fabio Vieira, we ain't getting anything back for. Lokonga, we ain't getting anything back for. Kivior's the only player that we look like we could sell for some decent money, but we're actually going to end up weakening ourselves if we sell him, if no one comes in, because you can't sell Tomiyasu and Kivior and just bring in Mosquera. So this is going to end up at the moment being a very disappointing window again. Like people are rating it as 4s and 5s and 6s again, where we should be looking at it going, right, 7, 8, 9. Thank you, Berta. Over to you, Mikel Arteta. And again, my problem is, Matty, if this ends the way it does, then people are going to use it as an excuse against Mikel and go, it's not Mikel. He's only doing what he can with what he's given. Berta's not the guy. Cronkies are an issue, which I still believe, by the way. Cronkies are an issue. However, I don't want that. I want this season to be, Mikel, you've got your striker, you've got your holding midfielder, you've got your wingers, you've got your attack, go and deliver. And it ain't going to be like that again at this rate, because this is going to be a disaster of a window again, isn't it?
I actually can see him waiting till Jesus gets healthy and put Jesus over there as well, too, on the left-hand side. I can actually see him doing that. I know that's not what people want to hear, but I know the manager.
Kai Havertz, bro, on the left.
Yeah, you will see him over there at one point this year. I don't know when, but you're going to see him at some point on the left, especially if we go down again. You'll probably see him over there. I mean, this is
what I can't believe, this comment here. Arsenal had 52 M's, and they spent it on Madueke before Eze.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. That's what we were saying. Shout out to Paulo. That's what we were saying last week on the panel. We were trying to get D to realize that we spent the money, that we just waited, and either went in with a concrete bid for Eze. We probably get Eze. He'd have to the manager would have to sacrifice a little bit and apply pressure to Odegaard. But at the same time, that's what's best for the team. At this stage, at year 6, in this entire situation we've been in all these years with Arteta, right now is what's best for the team. You need the best available player for the team. You need to suit the team to help Gyökeres score goals. There has to be, you buy a player like that, you have to have the tools that you can get the best out of him. A good left winger, creative midfielder. It looks like to me, Dan, we're coming into the season still trying to figure out what are we doing, and everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. You got Zubamendi, who I think he'll be fine, but Zubamendi's coming in, and you clearly see the pace of the Premier League. Called him Sunday, he was like, "Wow, this is a little bit quicker than what I expected." And then you see that situation. Go back to what you were saying about Declan Rice. He looks like he's out of gas. Do you see how tired he looks? He looks like he's out of gas on his feet. Then you look at Saka, like he's still trying to get his feelings back there from the injury. And then we talk about Martinelli. Martinelli could be shuffling from because he has surgery as well. So it's just a lot of small fires right now that you got to start trying to put out. And I just don't know what we're going to do in the transfer window this close, especially if it's not some kind of wild diabolical loan, like a Sterling type loan. That's what was scared. That's what's got me spooked right now, is that we'll probably get some of these wild loans that this manager normally reaches out and gets, and then that's what'll come in, and then we'll have to sit there. We'll be sitting there going like we did last year with the striker. Oh man, we had a left winger. We had a left winger. We had a left winger, man. We had a left winger. But like I said, I can see him putting Jesus over there, and like you just said, Havertz. I can actually see that. I can see him doing that. So, I told Guns the other day. I said if Wenger was here, he'd probably just take Calafiore and put him over there. I can see him just taking Calafiore and throwing him over there, and you just played on the left hand side. Oh man, Dan, we in for a ride this year, brother. We in for a ride. Like I said, I'm glad we beat Manchester United, because I can't stand Manchester United. I really cannot stand. I got most of my friends are Manchester United fans. I cannot stand Manchester United through and through. But I just know that we've got Leeds, then we've got a Liverpool behind that, and then I think we got another in the Forest. Then I think it's City, and man, we've got our work cut out for us, especially against Forest. I don't know if you saw Forest this weekend, but Forest is moving the ball. They are moving that ball, man, and those gaps that we were exploited in the United game will easily get exploited by them. Leeds is not going to be a pushover, by the way. I watched quite a bit of them in the championship last year. The only problem they had last year in the championship was they could not defend corners, which I'm pretty sure they're going to probably have to. They probably addressed that, considering they knew they were coming to the Premier League. So that'll be a competitive game. I'm not saying I think Leeds will win, but it won't be easy at all.
Oh man, it's crazy, man. The season just started. This is game weekend 1. Do me a favor, people. There's over 1,000 in there. Make sure you hit like. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you're following Matty on Southern Gooner. And if I'm honest with you, tonight's going to be a mad show. 10 p.m. tonight. Got a great panel for you. So we're going to be discussing all of this. But I've got to be honest, the next few games are going to be tricky. Playing the way that we have in pre-season and against Manchester United, I'm not expecting miracles. But on paper, I don't know, it's not played on paper. We should have the better team. And this is why I believe the manager is a huge issue, because he has not changed his ways this preseason and he's not changed his ways against Manchester United. Yes, we got 3 points, very good defensively, but in attack, we've got massive question marks. And if he believes that Madueke is the answer on the left, I don't really know what to tell people. Like, we all know that Madueke is a reject of Chelsea that could not get into the first team. He's a squad player for Chelsea. And he's now not going to come in as a squad player for Arsenal. It looks like he's going to come in and play on the left. Now, look, we might surprise them. Wow, Rodrigo bid goes in, or we go in for Lookman, or rah. That could happen, right? Who knows? But I'm at the moment putting money on the fact that Madueke is going to be our left winger at 52 million, May. That's what I think. I mean, does that mean we're done? Does that mean we're done with incomings?
Dan, I'm afraid to say we are, bro. I'm afraid to say we are. I think that unless we'll have maybe an outgoing, and there's a shot in the dark that we may get a Lookman or somebody at the last second, depending, if they down tools, wherever they are. Kind of keep an eye on that. If a player down tools, then we may go in for him. But I just don't see anybody else coming in, considering we spent that money on Madueke, and it grinds my gears. So you're thinking about we could have took that money and applied it somewhere else. Even if we want to look at somewhere else in-house in the Premier League, outside of Chelsea, rather. There were players available. I had Tony Clark kind of messaged me the other day. He said, "Why we always do business with City? Why we not going after Savinho? why we're not getting the best of Manchester City? Everybody else, we go get the worst of them. Why can't we go out and spend money on these players?" Yeah, I mean it's just a sad state of affairs, man. And unfortunately, Madueke is going to have to produce the goods, which remains to be seen. Like I told you, to keep an eye on that now. You could very well see Jesus over there. And Kai Havertz at some point. I'm telling you. That's what we are. And it shouldn't. Then the sad part about it is it should not be that way. Because with 50 million was spent. So that means 50 million was there. So we noticed that 50 million was there to spend. And it was spent on Madueke. That's what's going to sting this season.
Yep. Facts. And I've said, you want to bring in Madueke? Cool. But he better be coming in on top of Eze and Rodrigo. And if he's not, it's going to be a poor window.
Yeah.
And,
I don't think, not to cut across you there, but I don't think anybody will complain here if we would have got Madueke. Is the final signing, deadline day signing, 24, 22 million. I don't think anybody would care. They say, oh, well, that one kind of caught us off guard, but that's after you've made the proper signings. Instead, we opened the window with that. He left Chelsea the day before they were in the Club World Cup final to come to Arsenal. Look at the mentality of that young man. He left a cup final to come. I mean, he was coming back to London anyway. and then comes to sign, So, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. This is Isle of Patmos stuff this season. I told y'all it's Isle of Patmos. Get ready. This is going to be a rough season this year.
Yeah, man. And then I'm looking at the ownership. And I'm
they definitely need to be questioned. Yeah, they need to be questioned at this stage, because now you're saying, "Oh, we acknowledge it, but we're just going to keep dealing with it." Okay,
exactly.
Well, I tell you what. And this is why I say match day fans need to stop buying. When you go to the games, don't buy any juice, don't buy any crackers, no hot dogs, chips, none of that stuff. You you got your swipe your phone, go sit down. Don't even just sit. You remember that year? We was in the FA Cup and we played Blackpool. And they were telling everybody don't buy anything. Oh, yeah, that's how it needs to be. Start to be at the stadium. Don't buy anything, no juice, no nothing. No, I know sacrifice getting kits, nothing, no money in their hands until we get what we want, which is a team that is loaded, ready to go.
But the problem is, Matty, you're not going to get the fan base to do that united.
And there you go. There you go, Dan. You nailed it.
You're going to have people that still say, well, Mikel Arteta's the guy. It's just he's not being supportive. We've got to give it time. He still needs more money. It's only been 5 years. Took Klopp 4. All this crap's going to come out again, bro. And this is why the owners need to pull the plug on this manager or get the hell out and sell up because they've got zero ambition. Their ambition does not fit. You know, when Van Persie and Fabregas said that this ambition, the club's ambition does not match my own. That's how I feel as a fan right now. My ambition is to go and win every single competition. Their ambition is to dump off the domestic cups because it don't mean shit. Get as far as we can in the Champions League. It don't matter if we don't win it because the money's good there. Make sure you get top 4. And it doesn't matter if you can't win the league because we're not Man City or Chelsea. So we don't in the last 2 decades. This ownership have come into this club for 18 years and delivered 4 FA Cups. And let's be real, it was Wenger who won them, not the Cronkies. So when you look at it, it's been nothing short of a failure. If people think that 4 FA Cups in 18 years is recognisable at Arsenal, then they're supporting the wrong club, in my opinion, because that is not a successful decade or two. Like, if you want to go to West Ham and get that record, or Everton, or maybe Newcastle, they'd be buzzing with 4 FA Cups in 20 years, right? Absolutely buzzing with it. Because where Everton and West Ham and Newcastle have been to where they are now, they'd absolutely snap your hands off of 4 FA Cups in that time. Arsenal, when I was growing up in my first 10, 15 years, we won everything, bro.
Hey,
you
Dan,
know what I'm saying?
You just said, what was it, 4 and 20 you said? Well, guess what? We're getting close to joining that club at the rate we're going. We're almost be like some of these clubs where it's been 20 and 30 years since they won a league title. We're close. Remember, we used to take the ump out of Liverpool fans back in the day. Oh, it's last time y'all won a title. Oh man, you got to go all the way back to the 80s. You know, they've won 2 in the last decade. 2.
Well, they already won away. They already won Premier League away from equaling us, and we've been laughing at them. 30 years it took them.
Yeah,
I'm sick and tired of waiting, brother, and being called entitled.
See,
like, you're telling me we're entitled, man.
A lot of these fan base, Dan, they've never experienced what we experienced with Robin Van Persie, with Nasri, Clichy, Adebayor. They've never experienced having to watch their best players leave and go to a rival because we weren't ambitious at the time. I still have nightmares over that RVP because you remember all those years we hanging out with him when he get injured, we hanging out with him, and we finally start getting the best out of him, then he leaves. And it's just like you throw your hands up, like, well, what are we doing here? This is why I told people, keep an eye on soccer in this deal. Watch this deal because it's the people say it's been done, but it hadn't been announced yet.
Saliba as well, man.
Yeah, Saliba. Watch this space because a lot of this is going to hinge on this season.
Bro, it's mad. Listen, there's been a problem in the last couple of days with StreamYard and YouTube, and it is not saving any super chats. If you have put in a super chat, it is not showing at all. And I know that there has been some that have done it. I don't know why that is. But if you have put in a super chat, please put in the word super chat and your question that you wanted to ask, and I will try to save it and put it up. I will try and take a look backstage as to why that is and see what's gone on there. But something has changed in the last 2 days, and I've not been starring any of them. So I don't know if that is a problem with StreamYard, YouTube, or both, but there is definitely been a problem yesterday in particular with YouTube, which was a mad one. So, StreamYard's becoming a problem. YouTube's become a problem. And together, it's been a perfect storm in the wrong way. So, apologies if you put in a super chat and I've missed it. It has not been on purpose. It is not saved, and I cannot find it. So, apologies, people. If you have left the stream and you're rewatching as asking why I didn't put your super chat up, then please comment in the video with your question, and I'll read it out. So big up to you. Shaitanya, big up to you, bro. Apologies. I know you're only always super chat. I'm so sorry, man, whatever that has happened. But this was the super chat question, which was, do you think that Arteta will even win a league in any league? I don't think he's got the mentality at the moment to get across the line. I'm not saying he's going to be a shocking coach and a Sean Dyche or Pulis or whatever you want to call him. But I will say this, I don't think he's got the mentality at this level to get us across the line. I think he's done a good job to get us challenging, but challenging was something we were doing under Arsene Wenger. So for me, I do not want to be saying that he's going to be an absolute guaranteed winner elsewhere, because I personally don't believe it. I don't know about you, May.
I think if he started out if he did not come to us first and started somewhere else, he may have gotten some, like a smaller league or whatever. He probably would have done fairly decent. I just think once you get to these kind of levels, way up here, the Premier League, Spanish League, La Liga, Bundesliga, it's just, you just don't, and even to a certain degree, the Dutch league, you're not going to be able to just, goof your way to a title. It doesn't work that way. You've got to actually apply your trade. And I think that he missed a major opportunity to go learn his trade somewhere else and then experience the highs and lows of a success. And then he could probably arrive at a club like this. I was telling, I'm trying to say who I was talking to last week. We were talking last week. And somebody asked me about what I thought about if Fabregas came to the club. I said, well, the thing with Fabregas is Arteta's ruined it. So we don't even want to be bothered with that again. So maybe if we would have got somebody else and then that manager would have left and then Fabregas would have popped up, we would say, okay, well, we can, we might be, take it. But now it's like, no. We need proven champions, a manager that can get us over the line. There's no more time for any more projects. That's over now. That's over.
Yeah. Look, ALB Guna says my super chat question was, I can't remember, but I definitely said Arteta out. Fair play, bro. Fair play. Look, man, I appreciate you jumping on Matty every single time, man. And give me your kind of thoughts on the next 5 games now, not the next 6. We got Leeds, we got Forest, we got City, we got Liverpool at Anfield, Newcastle at St James's Park. What are you expecting, bro?
I think we'll see a couple of draws in there. I think we'll get a victory in there. I want to say we'll beat Leeds this weekend. I think it'll be a tough game, but I can see us winning 2-1. Liverpool, I can see it can go either one or two ways, either way, draw or lose. It's hard for us to win at Anfield. We hadn't won at Anfield in a while. And so I would probably look at the Forest game and say on paper that looks like a win, but they're going to be difficult. In that City, I see being a draw. I think City they're really ready to go. And it's funny because they started their summer shopping in January. they started shopping for the groceries in January. So that tells you about what their mentality was after last year. And I think a lot of people thought they were going to have a massive fall off this year. And I just this is going to be Pep is going back to his old ways this season. And don't take your eye off of United because they look way better than they did last year, this Sunday. So once they get it going, it's going to be very competitive up at the top 6 this year. Very competitive.
Yeah, man. Look, I said it's going to be. I said it's going to be. Go on.
I'll say this right quick, Dan, and then let's not forget these next 5 games, but there's still about 33 more to go.
You know what's mad? I said it would be second again at Lay, and I feel like I'm being kind there, bro. The way that we are looking and the way that we are in comparison, I suppose, to other clubs right now. I will say this before I say the next bit. I couldn't give a damn where we come if we don't win the league. Yeah. I'm not one of these like, yeah, we're second. Screw you guys. I don't give a shit about that, bro. I couldn't give a damn if you come 3rd, 4th, or 5th. Yeah, you get Champions League football. I don't care if you come 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th. Yeah. However, I don't think it's a given that we do get into the top 3 this season because I think Manchester City and Liverpool look better than us. And if I'm honest with you, there's teams that people haven't even spoke about yet that could shock. So I have no idea what's going to happen, bro. At the moment, Arsenal have always got a chance because of their defense, but I don't think we're anywhere near good enough to win the league, man. I've got to be honest with you. It's crazy. But look, we're going to finish it there. Big up to you, Matty. I really appreciate you jumping on. Make sure you're following Matt. What you got coming up, bro? How can people follow you, man?
I'm going to see if Lee does. I know YouTube was having trouble yesterday, so we didn't do the Real Talk podcast. So I'll see if he's doing it today. If he's doing it today, I'll probably be on with him today. And we'll be back this weekend for the Leagues game. So, Dan, appreciate it, brother. And I'll be listening to you all day on the roundabout. So,
love, bro. Love. Yeah. Come on. No, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for jumping on. Make sure you're following Matty. Again, apologies for the super chats, people. YouTube and StreamYard, both of them are down and it's causing problems with everything. So apologies. Hopefully that will sort out for later. I'll see you tonight at 10 p.m. That's going to be the Arsenal roundabout. There's going to be a lit panel. So make sure that you do come and say hello on that one as well. Make sure you're following OK Jerseys. Their logo is here. Links in the description or in the live chat. If you do want to go and get your shirts from there and don't feed the Cronkies pockets, then make sure you go and show them some love because they're doing some great deals over there. So please go and show them some love. And we're going to send you over to Sava, who's talking about the Eze deal at the moment and probably taking the mick out of Arsenal. But, you know, we've got to go and show him some love because he's been good to this channel. So make sure you go see him as well. And we'll see you next time. We're out of here. I'll see you at 10 p.m. Latest, people.